radio listeners, you are listening to 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. I'm Kenny Horn.
And I'm Kyle Pepitone. And you're now tuned in to the Morning Buzz.
Well, kinda.
Every Friday during the summer, we're going to give you a compilation show of the Morning Buzz over the course of the last week.
We have it all. Everything from the pressing news stories all the way to the weird and funny news that will be sure to give you a good laugh.
We will even replay interviews that aired, so you have another chance to listen in.
We'll even be posting this show to YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more.
So go ahead and treat yourself. Sit back, relax, and grab that extra donut, and listen to the best of the Morning Buzz.
Donuts.
Hello and welcome to the Morning Buzz. Right now, Kyle Pepitone and I, Kenny Horn, are joined by a special guest, Al Manzo. You may know Al from The Real Housewives of New Jersey, from Bravo TV's Manzo with Children, or as the owner of the Brownstone, a very successful catering business and a venue in Patterson, New Jersey. So, Al, thank you for coming on the show. It means a lot that you're here for right now. Can you tell us, the reason that we have you on is because of the indoor mask mandate is being lifted today. And can you tell us how that affects your business?
Well, it was very, very challenging on several levels. I think it's affected all of our industries, but particularly the restaurant industry. And even worse than the restaurant industry at large, the catering industry, which is a huge part of the New Jersey restaurant scene. It's not a business that is well known coast to coast. I've served on some boards of catering organizations, educational organizations that gave me some insight to how little there is outside of New Jersey, believe it or not. Metropolitan area's got quite a few, but pretty much from here to LA, there's almost nothing. So it's unique in a way. What I'm talking about is non-hotel catering facilities, is really what the designation would be. And what happens is in our business, you would carry heavy trays. So servers, sometimes 110-pound servers are carrying 40-pound trays 200-300 feet to a table to serve 8 or 10 people. Now, it's hard enough without a mask, but wearing a mask while doing that is almost unbearable. You know, you just cannot get the amount of oxygen you're going to need to do that job without just making it that much harder.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I have friends actually that they work in the restaurant industry as well. They're always telling me how difficult it is to work with that.
Right, yeah. It's not the greatest. It's pretty much a handicap almost, depending on like what industry you work in or what job you do. It could really affect you more than somebody else who's like has to wear it standing around at like a cash register, or, like sitting at a desk all day. So I definitely think the masks have definitely affected different industries differently, and more specifically, different like job positions differently.
You know, it's bizarre in a way because early on in the pandemic, after the mask mandate came into effect, I started to see, coincidentally, some bizarre health effects. I was getting tired. My anxiety was going out of control. My blood pressure was uncontrollable. It was terrible. So I went to see a doctor, and the doctor says, "Oh my God, you can't wear a mask all day long. Your O2 drops, blah 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 blah." And there's an executive order to cover people like you. So I did enjoy that exemption, but you know, try that exemption when you walk into a food store. I mean, it's more trouble than it's worth. So you put the darn mask on, and you get your milk and your eggs, and you get out of there. But my family actually operates the Berkeley Hotel in Asbury Park, which is a new venture. We've been doing it for about a year now. And I just said to the doorman a few minutes ago, I said, "Are you excited about not wearing the mask?" And he said, I think I'm going to still wear it. And so I said, well, there's a law that says you don't have to wear one anymore, but there's no law that says you can't wear one. So those people that are, for lack of a better word, freaked out that there's not a mask mandate, nobody's telling them they can't wear their masks. So God bless them. But my staff at the Brownstone starting tomorrow will not be required to wear a mask.
Right. And with that being said, that split between people who still might wear it and those who aren't going to, are there, starting with this mask mandate being lifted, is there any events you expect to get right away, or do you still think people will more gradually ease into like coming back to stuff like this? Like, is there any events like you have right off the bat starting tomorrow with the catering?
It's not like you can plan a wedding in a day.
Right.
Full disclosure, the work that we're doing now, which is a blessing and also tragic at the same time, is all 2020 work. I'm doing a wedding on the weekend of July 4th. That was supposed to happen the weekend of July 4th, 2020. So, what's happening is people are basically putting their lives on hold. A lot of these weddings, they got married anyway, but didn't have any kind of a reception. So basically it boiling down to doing a lot of work that I would have earned that money last year. But in a bizarre way, it's kind of lucky because June, July, August, all the way through holiday of the previous year is when I booked the spring and the summer of the following year. So we did no business. We didn't write any business in October and November. I mean, people were just like not knowing what to do. Everything was on hold. We're not going to plan something for the spring. We don't know if this is going to be over. So luckily there at least is some life. The biggest challenge we have right now is really nobody wants to go back to work. I have a team that is just not willing to go to work, and they're getting all this money for free from the Fed, supplementing the state unemployment, and they have no interest in working. When they can grab $800 a week for staying home, they're not going to work for me for $1,000. It's just tragic. It's a mess. It's really a mess.
Yeah, you mentioned the point that it's difficult. You lost a lot of business with, yes, they are coming back. Like it's something like you said, if it was 4th of July last year, it's now this year. But you said that there was that whole season that you weren't able to book for the upcoming times. And
yeah, we would just crickets. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, it was just crickets. That's a good way to put it. And I'm wondering about your offsite catering, because according to your website, you offer that. And I'm wondering, how has that been enough? Has that been enough at all to maintain the business side of everything?
Well, let me give you a little idea of some of the stuff that we've done, right? So we're doing events for major banks like TD Bank in 3 different states. We do a lot of work for Memorial Sloan Kettering. We do a lot of work for municipalities, townships, and all different types of things, not just citizens or people having weddings and other parties. Those events all dried up as well because, my work is basically, hey, bring food for 400 people to this this hall or this amazing venue. Well, people are not gathering in those sizes. So that money just pretty much dried up as well. And if you're saying, well, we're catering for the family, a dozen people, as you could imagine, it's not that much harder to accommodate 300 than it is 30. You're doing all the work, you're cooking, you're delivering. It's just not that much more effort. But the revenue is a fraction. So there is no bright side to it at all. We tried DoorDash, Uber Eats. We converted our menu into because remember we had a St. Patty's Day week was when it got crushed, right? So we got closed down on a Sunday. The next day was one of the local congressmen. He was going to have 600 people for corned beef and cabbage. Well, he canceled the party like 3 days before. So now I got all this corned beef. What am I supposed to do with it? Right. There was no bright side. So we went to Uber Eats and said, hey, we're going to put together a menu. Here's a meatloaf dinner. Here's a fish and chips, and we'll deliver it to your house. And you can order for one person. It was certainly not worth the money, but it was, I think, worth the effort to keep my core kitchen staff working and the chefs were working and getting paid. And, but it was rough. It was rough.
Right. And throughout this past year, what things from a business standpoint have you learned or have taken away from this pandemic, and how have those lessons impacted your business?
I don't know if many of us can really take away anything from it, in a sense that, how do you prepare for something like this ever happening again? I don't know if you could. Brownstone was uniquely positioned to endure something like this because I've been there 40 years. I don't have a mortgage anymore. My first mortgage is paid. My second mortgages are paid. There's very little debt service, but that doesn't mean there's not drains. I mean, my tax bill would choke the average person, just my property tax bill. So there really is no way to paint a rosy picture, and really very little you could take away from it, because how much money can you put away? God forbid the pandemic happens again. The rule of thumb was always 6 months. Be able to keep yourself alive for 6 months, and that certainly wasn't long enough in this case.
Right.
I have friends in the industry. Well, probably one of the only good things that came of it was that all the caterers in North Jersey kind of bonded. We Zoom called every single Thursday and met for a little strategy. And what are we going to do about this? What are we going to do about that? Uniquely bonding us, which was kind of, because we are rivals. We're fighting for some of the same parties every week. But, there's guys out there that have made tremendous investments. Look at the Corgellis family that owns the Venetian. They took a giant leap of faith and brought to Shadowbrook a beautiful facility. They invested millions of dollars on renovating this place. And when it was done, they couldn't even open. So now they take on all this debt service, they take on all this new project, booking parties that can't happen by law. The same good friends of mine are the folks that own the Florentine Gardens and the also the Chateau, the Park Chateau. These are guys that have massive mortgages that they have to meet every month. And with the revenue stream cut completely off, that's who I admire. I mean, how did they suck it up, if you will, persevere through that when they're making these, 6-figure mortgage payments every month with no revenue stream? Those guys, my hat's off to them.
Yeah, and you mentioned it a lot. It's very tough for a lot of owners, and you don't have to be a restaurant owner or a business person to even know that. It's just common sense at this point. But it's over, and the masks they're coming off, and we're getting to the end. So thank you for sitting down with us. For those of you who just tuned in, we just wrapped up an interview with Al Manzo, the owner of the Brownstone. Thank you, Al, for coming in, and enjoy the rest of our show.
Seattle bar now requiring proof of COVID-19 vaccination for entry. Funny you mentioned. Let's get it started. A Seattle Capitol Hills bar requiring proof of COVID-19 vaccination before entry. The bar's Facebook page uploaded a post on May 21st with the announcement. The bar thinks that it's the best way to keep the staff safe and any customer safe and protected, thinking it's the right thing to do. The post said, quote, "This protects our staff and all others that choose to enter. It also adds incentive for those to get vaccinated. When customers approach the bar, they must show their vaccination card along with their ID to match the information in order to enter. Without the proof of the vaccination, you will not be allowed to enter." So this is a huge jump. This is something that's very different for us. Now that they're going to be able to go into these bars, now that they know they're going to be vaccinated, there's going to be it's going to be a safe environment with everybody that's vaccinated. That's going to be interesting. I think a lot of businesses are going to be doing that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and this is just a single bar in Seattle, right? It's not like a chain or anything right now?
No, this is just one single bar. But yeah, I think this is gonna, be something. I think that people are going to be doing this, businesses and stuff,
Yeah, it's
restaurants.
very interesting to see like what's going to happen with this kind of stuff, because like it's like I mentioned before in the other story, it's not like, the most widely accepted practice. Like I get with bars, like, you have to card some people because, there are a lot of people with fake IDs. And it looks like now there's going to be a lot of people with fake vaccination cards as well, which is
Yeah.
probably going to make the job for the people out front a little bit harder. And now
Yeah.
I have this question for all of you, because I just thought of it now. Do you think places doing stuff like this, requiring proof of vaccination, would result in more people lying or more people getting vaccinated?
I think
I
there's a fine line between that, because to go back to the previous story, uh, personal experience, I actually got to go to a Phillies game last week, and they lifted the mask mandate.
Oh, really?
Philly. So it was kind of weird because I had my mask with me, and we only had to like go to indoor places like the bathrooms and whatnot with the mask on, and I felt like a little freedom, I guess you could say, walking outdoors at a baseball game in a different state. But and then the whole honor code thing that Crystal mentioned, yeah, I mean, people still may not trust the vaccine or whatnot, but there's another thing where they're going to have to get it, because if you don't get it, people are not going to be allowed to go into places if they
Right.
force rules on it. So, and to go with this, I think there's like a middle between, yes, people could get the vaccine, and then people might just lie. And
Yeah, exactly.
so I think there's like a 50-50 chance on how like that is, but that's my take on that.
Right.
Yeah, I think all bars should do it. As I was saying on the first story, I think all bars should do it. And not because of anything, but because it's the safety of the employees who work there. Like, they don't have an option. How are they going to control who comes in, who comes out? I know a lot of people are not going to be happy if businesses, if anything, like bars, hotels, casinos, whoever starts doing this. I know people are not going to be happy, because then they're going to be obligated to get the vaccine in order to participate in these events. And I tell you, like, honestly, I was thinking about this yesterday, and I was like, I wonder who is, not that I wonder, but like, because you can search it up, but I really don't think that Governor Murphy has someone in his team that is someone young, and or someone like relatively young, like under 20s. And I say this because young people think very differently than 30, 40, 50 years old.
Oh, yes,
And
100% definitely.
yeah, and I'm telling you because I have friends across like everywhere. I have friends who are very, scholastic students, like they're committed to school. They got their vaccine in order to participate in their school events, be able to live on campus. And then I have other students who, they work, and like they're 9 to 5 or 11 to 7, and they just kind of, enjoy life, I guess, a little more, or have more freedom. They go out to bars every other night, they party, this, that, and the fourth. And those group of people, they are not getting the vaccine, everyone. Like, okay, not everyone, but a lot of us, like 20-year-olds, 17, 18, 19,
Right.
are not getting the vaccine.
Really?
And that's up to you. You do whatever you think is right for you. I'm not going to sit here and tell you you need to get the vaccine. You do whatever you think is right for you. But again, it just kind of brings me back to like how they wrote this out. I felt like as where we are right now, we were at that point where people were wearing their masks. Like, they were wearing them. Some, yeah, they were like reluctant. They didn't want to do it. And yes, some had, it's annoying, but they had accepted it. And now they're like, you know what? You don't got to do it anymore. Leave that mask at home. And now I feel like we're all like, okay, like, yes, don't get me wrong. I want to go back to normal too, but you should just had a plan.
Right. That's the other thing that the previous article mentioned, the AP News one about the COVID testing stuff. They said, I forget who said it, but someone said like, okay, with all these mandates, with all these new mandates out or new protocols, people are treating it like, oh, that's it. COVID's done, gone forever, which obviously isn't the case, but because because federal officials are being so much more, air quotes, relaxed on on all this stuff saying, hey, if you're vaccinated, you don't need this. We can ease up on testing, this, that, and the other thing. Everyone's like, oh, cool. Pandemic's over. It's been a year. We all knew this was be gone by 2021. And, false sense of hope and security there. But if slowly we're getting back to that kind of sense, like hopefully, I mean, my hope by the end of year is we're back to something relatively closer to 2019. But right now, apparently a lot of people are thinking we're there now, which I hate to admit it that we're not out of this yet. I would love for this to be over, but we're not there just yet.
Yeah, I agreeing with Crystal. I think that the mask, like the whole thing about not having to wear a mask was very quick. And so it was I feel like it was just when people were just getting actually getting used to the mask and all that, and it's just now all of a sudden it's just oh, you got used to the mask, now you don't have to wear it. It's just, I don't know. To me, my opinion, I feel it's a little quick. They could have waited. I know we want to get back to normal, but it's just, if we want to get back to fully normal, we need to take these steps slowly.
Yeah. And I have a theory. And I really want to share this because I want all of your opinion. So you see how, I think it was last week or the week before, how my days are all messed up because of finals, but you see how the CDC announced hey, if you're vaccinated, you can stop using your mask, right? At certain places, right? And then whatever, people were all caught off guard because they didn't know it was happening. My apologies. Only very specific people knew it was happening, but not everyone, right? Not even, I think, governors. Fine, whatever. And then Governor Murphy was oh, no, we're not there yet. Fine. He says maybe down the line. And then a couple of days later, he's on May 28th, and correct me if I'm wrong on that date, but I'm pretty sure it's May 28th, you guys can stop using your masks indoors if you're vaccinated. So I was walking around my neighborhood and I saw a whole bunch of signs that said, since the primaries are coming up for, Governor Murphy and, well, at least from my area, the senator as well. And my theory is that he is making it allowed for people to drop the mask indoors, not because he thinks it's right, but because, or we're there yet, but because the numbers were probably not in his favor, because there's a lot of people who want to go back to normal. They don't like to wear the mask. So that is my theory. I think he just did it to make a lot of people happy, so his numbers are right.
I mean, yeah. I mean, he was the very first one. He was before New York and California when he said, nope, we're not listening to the CDC. So I could imagine that among some people that might bring his numbers down a little bit. So who knows? I mean, it was a very weird call to just immediately say, no, the CDC is wrong for New Jersey specifically. And now it looks like you said, he's doing this to make him look better, despite him technically being the villain. Not really the villain, but in terms of his approval, like you said, it looks like he's trying to correct a mistake he made.
Yeah, definitely. Honestly, I thought the same thing. I was at first, 1 week after another, he was just no, we're still gonna keep the masks. We kind of knew that he was just gonna keep the mask thing going on, and oh, we're not ready for this and that yet. And then all of a sudden, 1 week, it's just bam, you don't have to wear your mask outdoors. And then I don't know, I don't remember what he said about indoor masks. That if they're going to be lifted after a certain amount of people are vaccinated or something, but
it said close to this weekend, before Memorial Day weekend, they're going to try to.
I saw a thing from NJ.com that says indoor mask mandate will be lifted May 28th, which is this Friday, which is within a week, within a span of a week and a half, he just literally lifted the indoor mask mandate.
I'm telling you, it was the numbers. Because please tell me what changed in the past 4 or 5 days.
See, that's the thing. The week before he said, we're not listening to the CDC, he said oh, New Jersey's at its lowest transmission rate it's ever been. So how could we be at the lowest transmission rate in a year, but still also not be there? Now, I get if it was the lowest transmission rate and that lowest transmission rate was like 0.9, then yeah, we wouldn't be there yet. But the lowest transmission rate we had that week prior was like 0.27. So it seemed like we really actually were there, but he wasn't so ready. Like I said, he looks like he's trying to make himself be the hero. Because if the CDC mandated the no mask and he didn't make the call, it would have just been, okay, I'm following them. But if he makes the call himself, now people love me.
Right.
Me being Murphy, not me, myself.
I have some very exciting and really dramatic news for this time, but starting this Friday, Governor Murphy just announced that masks will no longer be required indoors in most circumstances. And in several places in New Jersey, will no longer be requiring that you have to maintain 6 feet apart. This includes in gyms, churches, restaurants, retail stores, and other businesses, which I think this is absolutely crazy. I can't wait to talk about this. But he also announced that dance floors at bars and restaurants will also be reopening, as well as indoor and outdoor gathering limits will end on June 4th. So this doesn't start this Friday, but on June 4th, which is not that far away, like what, like 9 or 10 days away, which is crazy. So right in time for Memorial Day weekend. So guys, if you know what this means, soon before you know it, we're going to be able to go to concerts, sports games, Little League baseball games, like all that fun stuff is coming back. And to think that nearly 15 months ago, NJ reported its first coronavirus case, and to think that we've already come this far. So I'm curious to know how you guys feel about this. I am really excited, but I also see it from another point of view, which some people could be very nervous about this. I mean, I was just reading this morning, only 47% of New Jerseyans are fully vaccinated. And, that still leaves like another 50% who aren't fully vaccinated. And I want to know how you guys feel about this.
Well, in my opinion, now just seeing how is everything going with coronavirus cases really plummeting, everything going in the right direction, I trust that opening up will be fine, because I see, like you said, that we have already 47% of people vaccinated. And while that maybe isn't like close to 90, 80%, because the numbers seem to be going in such a good place, like it's something to be excited about, not really to be anxious about, just judging by the statistics and judging by the science behind it. So me, myself, I am very excited. I can't wait. And I wonder how things go back to normal now that people are so used to wearing masks and everything. It's just very interesting because, like you said, for 15 months, we were used to this new normal where we social distance, we wear masks, we don't see each other in person. And now when that's lifted, how will we go back to normal life? That's what I'm curious about.
Daji, what do you think?
I was gonna say, honestly, I'm a little indecisive about it because of the simple fact, like, even before the pandemic, I feel like everybody was on top of each other. Like, you could be on a line buying something and nobody had like personal space or like boundaries. They would just be on top of you, waiting behind you. And now we have more of a, you have to do a 6-foot distance or at least be a little further away from a person. So I feel like we are, being more cautious of who's around us now. I've seen that whenever I go outside, and I just feel like with the mask mandate and everything off, it's going to be a little, I don't know, I'm not ready to go back into that world, like in terms of, because we're being more careful in terms of germs when we're further away from people or just wearing masks in general. I feel like that's okay. So, I don't know. I feel like either way, I would still wear my mask.
Yeah.
Still, even if they say, oh, you don't have to wear it at all, depending on the environment, I would wear it.
Yeah, no. Oh, sorry, Isa, I'm gonna cut you off, but I just think it's so crazy too how like all these things that we did pre-pandemic are, which used to be so normal, it's like now it's like like, ew, like, I can't believe I did that. Like, was so close in these big groups of people with no masks where all these viruses and germs could spread. It's just so crazy to think how things have evolved. But what I find interesting is that Governor Murphy is saying that unvaccinated people are encouraged to social distance and wear masks. However, the state will not require people to show proof that of their vaccination status. So it kind of brings me back to the point of, even though obviously like we all care, and we care about the safety of people and we want everyone to stay safe and healthy, but there are still a lot of people like throughout this entire pandemic who haven't cared as much as they probably should have. And with so many people not like just not wanting to get vaccinated, this, in my opinion, I hope isn't a problem, but it could potentially be problematic because there are people who don't want to get vaccinated, who don't plan on getting vaccinated, and who don't care, and who, even though you're encouraged to still wear your mask if you're not vaccinated, there are many people who probably will still go out there and do their thing now, just maskless with no vaccine, and just not caring about the rest of the world, which is worrisome in my opinion. However, oh, sorry, what were you gonna say?
Oh, it's all right. You were discussing about vaccine decisions, and when I did make research about seeing why would people refuse vaccines or what are the mandates, because there are apparently exemptions to the vaccine. There are two. One is a medical exemption in which people who have sensitivities to vaccinations or just are allergic to the ingredients, who just physically can't take the vaccine or else they will get seriously sick. That's one exemption, that they won't be able to take the vaccine. Or a number two exemption is a religious exemption due to religious beliefs that could contradict what's in the vaccine, or I am aware that some religions have the right to refuse vaccines. So those are the two religious exemptions that I am aware why people wouldn't take the vaccine. And the third one, of course, is if someone disagrees with what's going on with the vaccines or just politically finds it unjust. But I'm aware that the two exemptions, the first two, are the legal exemptions. According to Article 6 in the Article 6 of the Human Rights Act of 1947.
Wow. Okay, that was great. You said.
But I was very curious about this.
No, that was very helpful. And it's interesting you talked about religion too, because I actually had someone who came into my restaurant who didn't wear a mask and said that it was against their religion to wear a mask, and I was like, whoa, like that's like I've never heard of that, but yeah, it is against some people's religion to get vaccinated, I guess. But I want to ask you guys.
But most people, sorry.
No, you're
most
good.
People,
you're good. Daji, go ahead.
I feel like most people not lie, but it's like you have to go with their word. Like you can't say, show me proof. What religion are you? Let me Google that. Like it's against, human ethics. So it's a little messed up because some people can lie and manipulate the situation just for their comfort. So it is interesting to see how it's going to play out throughout the next year, because this is going to take a while to get used to. And honestly, that's what bothers me a bit, the fact that some people can lie and like abuse their, freedom, which is, I don't know, it's a little touchy.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. So would you guys say that you're excited that things are going back to normal, or are you more like uneasy about it and a little like on the fence?
I know me personally, I am excited. I really miss living just like the normal lifestyle. I come from a very social culture because I'm Polish and I know many Polish people, and I've always been part of a Polish community, and we are very close, and we like to host big parties and have these great events. And unfortunately, because of the pandemic, we weren't able to. But now with everything slowly lifting, I just can't wait to get back, and I can't wait to see the world as it was without this, I would say, scary, I would say it's like a little buffer of trust. Like I would like to have that trust again to know that the person next to me isn't going to infect me or anything, even unintentionally. I mean, I have a belief that we are all inherently good and we're not trying to like infect each other or hurt each other. But it's just yeah, I would say I'm very excited and I can't wait to get back.
I need to meet your family, Isa. That sounds like fun. I'm a little I'm a little nervous, honestly, because like whenever I'm around a big crowd of people, I now get like nervous somewhat, and I was never like that. I'm very outgoing and stuff. As soon as I see a bunch of strangers, I can talk to you. I could still do it to an extent, but it's just inside of my head, I have like anxiety or something where I'm like, ugh, I feel like I shouldn't be here. So that's there. But other than that, I feel like it's great. You know, you can hang out with your family, friends, and go back to normal somewhat.
Yeah, no, I completely
What's your
agree.
take?
I am super excited. I'm so thrilled. Like I feel like for the first few months I was okay, but like now I'm like craving like being social. Like I'm like I need to be social. I need to go back into big groups. Like I miss seeing people all the time because I'm like you, Daji. Like I love to talk to random people. It's so much fun, and I'm just missing that social aspect that gives me that oomph every day when I wake up. But I want to know. What do you guys think Montclair will do come the fall semester? Like, do you think we'll be back to classes like we had in 2019? I know they're saying that it's going to be back 100%, but personally, I'm a little iffy about that statement. I don't know how that's actually going to work out. I know they're requiring everyone to get fully vaccinated, but even that, I feel like I don't want to say it's a long shot because it shouldn't be a long shot, but like I feel like that might be a little difficult. What do you guys think?
I feel that with the summer going on and seeing how things go, I feel that hopefully like everything will go out smoothly and the public will get used to it by then. So by the time we do start school, eventually we will come to like this kind of second version of the new norm. Like everything will go back to normal and we're going to be okay. And I think there is going to be a lot of people who are excited about going back to school. Not only that, but I heard that the incoming class will be the biggest class for Montclair that we have ever seen, according to some of the people at our radio station that we were discussing about. So I'm very excited to go back, and I hope that everything will be back to normal again, and we'll have in-person classes.
Ooh, that's exciting. More people, yay.
I'm a little honestly, I've never been physically at Montclair. This was this was my first semester. So I had to be on campus. I was doing technically 3 online, 3 physically on campus, and it did feel a little dead.
I'm sorry, did you
and
live on campus or did you commute?
No, I would commute. So it felt a little dead, but I could tell that it's a very vibrant type of campus whenever there are a lot of people around, and I'm like, oh, this would have been nice to experience. But I'm a little excited, honestly. I feel like it'll get better by the fall, like Issa was saying. But yeah, how do you feel about it, Sabrina?
I mean, I'm very hopeful. I am confident in my fellow classmates that hopefully we'll all get vaccinated and hopefully nothing bad will happen that'll stop us from fully going back to 100%. However, I do feel like it is a bit of a change from the pace we were going this semester, like a big change in my opinion. So I hope that we're able to do it. I want to stay hopeful.
We're going to talk about something that I'm just going to say. I have to say this. I'm sorry, but I think it's just unacceptable. We have Cicada Pizza. Cicada, I don't know how you say it. Yes, Cicada Pizza and Nymph Spring Salad. It's what's for dinner, everybody. So in case you haven't heard, trillions of Brood X cicadas are emerging for the first time in 17 years. After spending most of their lives underground, these critters are coming out for a massive mating season, and they're currently showing up in 15 U.S. states and Washington, D.C. as well, leading to some deterrent of pest control. But there is another way, and it's natural to manage all the insects. Eat them. That's right. Now, why would you do that if there's so many other arguably less creepy things to eat? Well, there are a lot of people looking for alternative ways to consume protein and necessary nutrients that you get to offset the environmental impact of consuming regular animals such as chicken, cattle, all that, for instance, and that requires a lot of space, water, other resources. Insects, though, on the other hand, they emit fewer greenhouse gases and they can boast even more protein than meat. So, oddly enough, if you search Google right now for cicada recipes and you pull up several ways to cook various species of these insects, yummy, from topping your pizza with them to squeezing them between some bread, if you want some extra crunch, extra meaty in your sandwich. Twitter has been buzzing about these conversations with these meal ideas, and and Chef Joseph Yoon is sharing a bunch of different ways to eat the cicadas through his Instagram and Twitter account called, here it is, Brooklyn Bugs. I've even seen TikToks of it where people make, and I thought it was a joke, but nope, then they just start eating it. Experts, if you want to eat a cicada, here's how you do it. Experts say it's best to eat cicadas just after the nymphs have climbed out of their skin when they're nice and soft. Just go outside with a paper bag, scoop them up, cook them, save them in the fridge, freezer, do whatever for later if you want to. All right, so I got a question for you all, and this is my first thought. How much money would it take for you each to eat a cicada?
0. It's all natural, vegan, environmentally friendly protein. You want to do your part and help saving the planet. You want to help get those gains, make your summer body a fruition. Then go get a giant
Gotta get a juicy one.
Get a giant fish net, swing it around in the air, catch a bunch of cicadas, cook them, and eat them. It's much healthier for you and your long-term health than say steak.
Okay, now give me some serious answers.
Can I say
that was half serious.
No amount of money, will get me to eat a cicada.
Seriously.
No amount of money.
You have to be adventurous.
All right.
No.
I would do it for $100. Easy.
This goes back to fear factor for me.
Okay.
This goes back to fear factor. I'm not doing anything that's going to
$1 million. I will give you $1 billion. It will change your entire life. You won't have to do a single thing. That won't do it. You won't eat a cicada.
I'll eat a cicada for $1 billion.
See, there's always a price.
There's always a price for anything, and you would. You're just because, again, especially in U.S. culture, eating insects isn't considered normalized, but in several other cultures, people do it all the time.
It's a delicacy.
It's a delicacy, and it's very nutritious and healthy. Just because you think, even if it visually doesn't look appealing, doesn't mean it doesn't taste good.
No. Oh wow, it probably tastes like chicken. I feel like everything tastes like chicken. That's not my point. So yeah, I'd probably do it for around $50, maybe $100.
I was looking at some of the pictures of them because this is the first time I'm hearing about this, and some of them actually look. Some of them look more appealing to me than others.
No,
I don't know.
Unacceptable.
I definitely noticed that the lighter skinned ones kind of looked more appealing to me than the ones that were more darker.
It's just your opinion, how you see it. I don't really see a difference between the shades. But
I was looking at this one right here, it's basically peas, string beans, and it's the ones in the brown shell.
Hey,
here we have it. We have it for you, Facebook Live watching. And for those of you who are watching on YouTube, this is cicada nymph spring salad.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so what you're gonna do? It's a nice appetizer. All right.
So a lot of protein.
Yeah, protein. So you're gonna throw them into a little nice salad. Get some asparagus, peas, red onions, chili, garlic.
Look at that protein. Look at all that food.
Bunch of stuff.
Imagine someone posts that to their Snapchat or Instagram story of them eating food, and then the first thing you see is the cicada salad.
That's right. This is chili guacamole. Okay.
See, this is all I think about is
kimchi. I don't know what that is.
All I think about is the Blade Runner.
That was really appetizing.
Well, here's why it looks appetizing, Francis. I can't even see a bug in there.
No.
It's all smushed up. It's like bug soup.
Wow. Okay.
Okay.
This is a chocolate cicada.
I was trying to figure out what that was. I read the title. I'm like, oh, it's chocolate.
Yeah, it's got nice gold foil and everything. We got cicada ramen. Come
Yeah, cicada
on.
ramen.
Are they gonna put them in stores soon? Like I can buy them like in the cup.
In the ramen.
Yeah,
cup,
cicada
yeah.
flavored. Yeah. And we can't forget this. Cicada pizza. Come on. Come on.
They better have a deep dish.
I do have a bit of a question about this one though. Why are the cicadas a different color in this one? Maybe they're covered in some
Different
kind of
species.
sauce.
I would
Basil. See,
I
fresh
would have
basil.
to assume just like different species and where it's like usually made.
Maybe. I'm
I
going
don't
with the
know,
basil
like,
though.
where this pizza was made.
So, all right, if you had to eat any of these dishes, which one? Come on.
I'd probably eat the cicada
Chocolate.
pizza.
Chocolate?
I'd eat it with the gold wrapping on it. I wouldn't take it off. I'd eat the gold wrapping with
Good
it.
call. It's extra protection. That way you get more well, I don't know. You get iron from eating gold. That's
You get
that is
iron,
not
and
true.
It helps
listeners.
harden your teeth. It conditions your teeth.
Yes, what he said. That is not true. Don't do any of that. Don't do that, anybody.
I would go for it. I would go for the cicada pizza because that one actually looks kind of appetizing to me.
Okay, but imagine getting closer to it, and as you take a bite, you just see bug eyes staring at you.
Like just the bug eyes, yeah.
Yeah,
You put
okay.
it inside your mouth,
just
you start feeling the bug move inside your mouth.
I'm going kimchi.
Oh god, no. That thought of like the bug moving around in my mouth, it just
I'm going kimchi because I can't see them.
Yeah, I'm going either with the chocolate or the string bean thing on the
Yeah,
top.
if you have a weak stomach, go with the kimchi.
I don't have a weak stomach. I just don't want to eat bugs. But I'm here. I'm going to say something even crazier right now. I would rather.
Wait. It says right there with 24 karat gold.
It's not actual gold. It's not actual gold. But all right. You're gonna call me weird here. I'd rather eat cicadas than I would rather eat chocolate.
Really?
I hate
Really?
chocolate with a passion. Chocolate is the worst thing on the planet.
Yeah.
Is it?
Don't worry.
Is it the aftertaste? Is it the burn aftertaste you get in your throat after?
There's an
eating chocolate?
aftertaste.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Chocolate, yeah.
It's just terrible. It just makes me gag, and I hate it, and it's the worst thing.
Do you have
ever.
a condition?
Don't worry.
I don't have a condition. Well, I'm not allowed to have fun, and that's part of and that contributes to it. No, I'm kidding. But
Kenny, don't worry. My brother doesn't eat chocolate, so it's not weird.
We're not alone. Where I got people who share with me. But let's move on. We got some more stories about food. This is another weird one, except I would eat this one in a heartbeat. So, what is the biggest thing that you have ever eaten? Okay, that's my question for you all.
Probably some of the Vermonster from Ben Jerry's.
What's a Vermonster?
It's like 4 or no, it's like 1, 2, 3, 10 or like 16 scoops of ice cream in one bucket.
Pretty good. Francis, Thomas?
I had a lobster once from Red Lobster, a whole lobster, and I remember one time when I was trying to like crack it open with the shell was so big and sharp that I actually split my hand open.
Wow. Okay, Thomas.
Wow, biggest thing I've ever eaten. Probably I don't know. I like order from like probably like I thought you meant biggest as in like popular, but like probably like the biggest. I usually don't eat like big things. I usually eat like mass quantity of things. So like Thanksgiving style, like type
Yeah, that
of,
counts. That counts.
Yeah, that counts. Okay, yeah, there you go.
Okay. Well, biggest thing I've ever eaten is 22 White Castle sliders. Yeah, that was tough. One of my life goals is to eat an entire Crave case, which is 30. But what I'm getting at
That's disgusting.
That's why I want to do it. That's not the point though. So we have something even more disgusting because I think it's beautiful. A 510 foot cheesesteak.
Oh my
you
god.
cheesesteak lovers out there, me included.
With or without?
With or without what?
No, with or without. Like with or without cheese, with or without onions.
I don't get it. Am I supposed to get it?
No, it's like without onions or with onions. No.
With onions. I'm confused. Well, here's the thing.
Asking the toppings of the enormous cheesesteak. If there's any absurd like.
Well, they have a whole bunch of different ones in it, but here's the story. So, Philadelphia guy makes sense. Philadelphia. That's
from Philly.
Exactly, makes sense. He celebrated his birthday by having a bunch of chefs assemble a cheesesteak that, like I said, 510 feet long. Renee Kobaitri, owner of the
How
Rim
much did he
Cafe.
pay them?
That's a good question. Renee Kobaitri, owner of the Rim Cafe, he recruited a team of chefs to build this sandwich that was over 2 blocks long. He did this on Monday night, and he said, quote, "I want to make it big, make a big party for everyone, so why not bring everyone together and have a couple thousand people?" Sure, why not? So Kobaitri said that the cheesesteak, he's going to submit it for an official Guinness World Record, but whether or not it's accepted, he plans to already outdo this accomplishment, as he calls it. The next one, quote, is going to be more crazy. Get ready, baby. That's actually what he said. And he says he's going to make it happen. So what are your predictions? What do you think he's doing?
I think he's
Is
going
he gonna
for.
rub cheesesteak, or is he gonna build some other sort of food?
He's got to build something else. I mean, he's already done this. It's just repeating himself.
I don't know. I personally think
He
he
should
might.
make like a 500-foot tall ice cream cone.
Of course not. Why would he do that? Actually, no.
All
Actually, that's
the
actually not
extra-
bad. That's actually not a bad idea. I take that
Make it
back.
out of cardboard.
I take that back. There's
Make
a
it out
problem
of
with that.
cardboard.
There's a problem with that, though.
What?
It'll melt. And if it is out of cardboard, that's not authentic. Then he's just a
Oh.
poser. Do you want to be a poser?
No.
I mean,
I
hey,
think
everyone's trying to get clout now these days, so we may as well go for it.
I think the best. I think the idea might be like a another like some form of like hot dogs. Like
Hot
the world's
dog.
like the world's
Okay.
longest hot dog, which is
I'm
French
sure.
with this French bread and stuff like that.
Okay,
What
I'm sure
grill
that's
is
got to
you
be
and
huge.
just,
Cook it on
and just a Chicago dog.
I have some other ideas. So
Okay.
I'm still waiting for New York Man to make the biggest pizza.
That is okay. Wait, but back it up. New York, man.
Yeah, I don't know if that actually exists, but
No. New Jersey, man. All right.
Yeah.
There is not much I have state pride for, but pizza and Taylor ham pork roll. I don't know.
oh yeah, that's what I was gonna
Belly,
say.
whatever you
New
want to
Jersey-
call
I
it.
was gonna say New Jersey Man was gonna make the biggest like Taylor ham pork roll thing on
Why
it.
not give us both? It can be the same guy.
It could be the same guy.
Yeah. Just give us a Taylor ham and pork roll. Like that would be the biggest thing ever in New Jersey.
That was a fun story to report on. Coming up next on the Morning Buzz, we have a little production to be played for you all, okay? So this little production, I don't know why I keep on saying little, it's actually very impressive. This production was done as a part of the general manager of WMSC's radio production class for a student's final. The student, their name is S.J. Manresa. And what they did is they made a piece about Asian American Pacific Islander Awareness Month, and that is the entirety of the month of May. Considering that this is going to be the last show for the month of May, we're going to be airing that piece, and throughout it, you will be learning about how important it is to celebrate worldwide cultures, including one such as the Asian American Pacific Islanders, because they brought a lot to our country and a lot around the world. Here it is.
Is celebrated in May and is a celebration of Asians and Pacific Islanders in the United States. Naturally, that's a really broad term because Asia and the Pacific Islands encompass the entire Asian continent and the Pacific Islands of Oceania. That's Melanesia, Micronesia, so many more, Polynesia. So this month is an effort to commemorate all of their contributions to the U.S. and celebrate their cultures and identities. Originally, it was actually only a week in May, the first 10 days of May, but it was widened to encompass the whole month. And May was actually chosen because it commemorates the immigration of the first Japanese to the United States, which was on May 7th, 1843, and also to mark the completion of the Transcontinental Railroad, which was May 10th, 1869, because the majority of the workers who laid the tracks were Chinese immigrants.
Now you might be asking yourself, why is this so important?
APM is important to recognize for many reasons. Generally, just within the fabric of America today, it's important to recognize that the country is made up of multiple racial groups. It's not just white people. It's not just a single, and also it's not just a singular Asian group as a monolith. It's important to recognize Asians and Pacific Islanders and their respective identities within those umbrella terms.
America's a melting pot of so many different cultures and people. There is so much history behind America, and a lot of that comes from minorities like Asians and Pacific Islanders.
There's just a whole history that we never talk about as Americans as to the fundamental roles that Asian and Pacific Islanders played in shaping this country and what they've contributed and given up to make it what it is today.
Celebratory dates like Black History Month, International Women's Day, Hispanic Heritage Month, and Asian American and Pacific Islander Month are all important but can go unnoticed. However, media can have an impact on the ways people see these dates and bring attention to the things that normally don't get spoken about.
The effects of the media cannot be overstated. If you look back to the late 19th century at yellow journalism, right, which was a style of reporting in newspapers that, sensationalized everything that was happening, that is attributed in history textbooks today as to what pushed the US and Spain into war in Cuba and the Philippines, right? So media can really change the course of a nation, clearly. But to get more grounded with it, if you look at Darnella Frazier, right, who recorded, unfortunately, George Floyd's final moments and what happened, that was distributed through the media, right? Like, arguably that sparked the Black Lives Matter movement. And some say with that video that it was her who made the verdict against Derek Chauvin possible. So you look at media's role in all of these things and how it's not necessarily the cause of these things, right? But it's a huge catalyst, right? It connects all of these people. If you look in March to the Atlanta spa shootings in Georgia, right, where, this shooter went in and killed 8 Asian women, that was originally not going to be looked at as a hate crime because they didn't think that they could really connect it. And it was there were such specifics necessary to prove something as a hate crime that it wasn't worth prosecuting for because it wouldn't be proven. But that denies the hypersexualization of Asian women, right? And the intersection of that identity. But then in April, if you look at it, after a lot of outcry, again, catalyzed by the media, reporting on these things, the Senate ends up approving legislation that strengthens federal efforts, right, to address these hate crimes against Asian Americans. And in an attempt to decrease, right, discrimination and violence towards Asian American communities. And that measure was sponsored by who? Senator Mazie Hirono. She's a Democrat from Hawaii, right? And that was passed 94-1. And so media has a large role in really shaping the narrative and how it's pushed to people, and how those people affect their own society and what they fight for. Now, there's obviously pros and cons, right, where that can get dangerous, especially now if you look at the polarization of the U.S. today and how every organization you can pinpoint on a scale, right, its political leanings, and people tend to stick to the ones that they feel most comfortable listening to. However, what I think is really important is accurately representing the climate of the era, and that's what media needs to do. There was a Harvard law professor, I believe, who said the court should never be influenced by the weather of the day, but inevitably they will be influenced by the climate of the era. And that was also used in the Ruth Bader Ginsburg movie. And so I think media is a big effect, or media largely affects what the climate of that era is. And so our vision for APAM and media's role in it is that it helps a bit more accurately reflect the climate of the era of Asian American and Pacific Islanders today.